Hi guys, welcome to another video on my channel. I'm Pixie BB, but you can just call me BB. And today I am back on working on my personal save file that I've been playing with off screen. I have made a video previously on the save file, specifically on my South American calendar. And I'm actually pretty satisfied with the families and the households and the calendar that I created. But one thing that I did feel like was missing was a bigger connection with lots that I've been using. I feel like it's a bit lackluster in that sense. And I was just thinking, we have so many features and mechanics in The Sims 4 that I don't really use as much as I could. So today we're doing exactly that. I plan on setting up some custom venues, which is kind of the newest feature. And then later, I think we're gonna set up some clubs, and I kind of want to see the differences in those features. So currently I'm playing with this sim right here. This is Ina Sampaio, and there are two lots that I have in Cidade Namorada that are alright. I have them set up as a nightclub and then a bar, but I kind of want them to work in more specific ways. And custom venues I feel like are really good for people who like to micromanage their save files. I am that person a little bit. So I'm gonna show you guys what I've been planning, and I'm gonna play test it later, and then at the end I'll tell you guys what I liked and what I didn't like. So this is the lot that I am working with. I made this lot to kind of be an outdoorsy nightclub, I guess. This is more of a hangout space where Sims come to, well, hang out and then have drinks and dance. I had the idea for this lot based on an area where I live. It is pretty common for people to kind of just hang out on the streets. But I also wanted to have a little kind of food fair area with a few food stalls. And I have the lot set to a nightclub, and it works fine that way. The only thing that is really annoying is that I have to hire vendors every time I come over here, and then I have to pay for it. And I also don't like that I don't get to choose the DJ and the mixologist. Yes, I am that finicky. I made Sims with like the skills, and I was hoping they would be selected to be here, but they're not. And I wanted them to be Sims that my Sims know, so I'm gonna try to change the venue from a nightclub to a custom venue. I have to say this is not a custom venue tutorial because I'm also still learning, kind of setting up my save file. So I am gonna playtest everything that I'm doing later. Before I begin making the whole schedule, I just want to say that I do have a mod for custom venues that does help out a lot. I have the custom venue fixes mod by Markilo, I believe. And that mod I find very essential. It just fixes a few of the activities and the roles to kind of have the Sims actually do what they're supposed to do, and it adds a few activities that aren't in here usually. So if you see something here that you don't see in your game, that's where I got that from. And the second thing that I want to address is that, as you can see, we can only have 20 Sims per each time slot, and that's because in the vanilla game you can only have 20 Sims. I honestly find it so annoying that they made this limitation, but I get why they did it. I mean, they kind of had to do it for vanilla players, but if you have a mod like MC Command Center that allows you to have more Sims, I'm actually gonna try a workaround to see if I can have more than 20 Sims in a lot, where I'm gonna use the roles and the club system to have more Sims here, and I hope it works. I'm gonna show you guys if it doesn't. So I'm gonna start with the essential roles. So the main things that I do have to add to this lot are the vendors, the bartender, and the DJ. So let's start with the vendors. So we're gonna open our custom role. I'm gonna say vendor. Can add criteria or assign specific Sims. I think for the vendors, I don't really want to assign specific Sims, so I'm just gonna add 5 vendors. And then in the criteria, I am gonna add an age criteria, so we can only have young adults, and elders. I guess we could have teen vendors. I don't know if teenagers can tend stalls actually. You know what? We shouldn't have teenagers here. This is kind of a nightclub. We're gonna have Sims drinking and dancing and doing stuff. So I don't think it's appropriate to have teenagers working late night here. And I think I might add actually another criteria. So the way I like to play my game, I like to be kind of locked in to a few regions that make sense together. So, I mean, they wouldn't necessarily make sense together in real life, but in this save file right now, I am playing with Cidade Namorada and Tartosa as if they were close to each other. And I'm also gonna add Newcrest because I do have a few townies living there. And the only reason that I'm actually like picking this is because even though I feel like vendors could be anyone, I don't really want Bella Goth to be a vendor instead of Namorada. She shouldn't be a vendor anywhere, but you know how the game works. I actually don't know if tending stalls is an activity. Let me see. We have tend coffee, tea bars, and counters. I don't know if stalls count as counters, so I am gonna test this. If it doesn't work, I guess I'll just go back to hiring the vendors. If you guys know any mods that add a tend stall activity, I would love to hear it. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Let's save. And I'm gonna add the DJ and the mixologist really quickly. Before the DJ, I did have a specific sim that I wanted to add here, but I added the criteria first so it was easier to search through the whole sim list. Otherwise, they're gonna give me a random list of sims that probably wasn't going to include him. So I added the DJ mixing skill, of course, and the DJ activity is actually an activity that I think that mod fixes it. The custom venue fixes. I think there's a bug with the whole DJ thing in custom venues, so just a little tip. And I'm not gonna do an outfit, he can just wear whatever. And then the bartender role, I also have a specific sim. He has, mixology, and he's gonna attend the bar. And I did give him a specific outfit because him being naked here kind of scared me. And I'm worried that he might show up naked, even though I know he has clothes. And at this point, my recording stopped working, so I'm just gonna explain what I did here really quickly. So besides the essential roles that we have here, the workers, I now had to add just the sims that would visit this lot. Otherwise, the lot would be completely empty when my sim visited it. So I added 2 more roles. I added party goers and then I added foodies. So the point was that, some sims would be partying and some sims would be, in the fair and eating and stuff. And yeah, that's basically all that I did here. I also then went on to do the schedules, and that was also pretty simple. I just added that, the stalls open a little bit earlier, and then at night the DJ and the bartender and the party goers show up. I'm not gonna go into each hour very much into detail because it is pretty much just the same schedule repeated over and over. We have the Sims doing their jobs, and then we have the sims who are just there to drink and dance and socialize. And the foodies specifically should be more focused just on eating, and I did add socialize just so they kind of have more stuff to do in case they don't want to eat. And yeah, and then after this I went on to make the clubs, which I'm gonna show next. Okay, so now that we have the whole schedule set up, we have the roles set up, what I'm gonna do is make some clubs to try to make the lot a little bit more full. So I'm gonna start a club for her and her friends that like to come party at this lot together. And I have to say, the club system, it's old, but it's probably one of the best working system the Sims team has ever made, which is probably why they keep making variations of it. But I'm not super sure how clubs work with the custom venue lot, so this is not really a tutorial, you guys. It's more of an experiment, and I'm gonna just take you guys through this journey of trying to make this work. Okay, you guys, this took me a lot longer than I thought it would, but I ended up creating 3 clubs. So we have Inai's club, which is the girls' night out club for the coolest girls in Cidade Namorada. I had no idea what to write here. So I just did that. And then I have two other clubs, which I did not make a description for. So we have the Party Animals, and then we have the Ready to Mingle club. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. The Party Animals are just Sims that are always out here partying, dancing, drinking. And then the Ready to Mingle Sims are the Sims that are looking for something else other than just partying. And this club is actually headed by Nina Caliente, which I thought was very, appropriate. I do have Nina and Dina living in Cidade Namorada in my save file. But I think this is what I'm gonna do for this slot. I am hoping that the clubs work like they should and that the Sims come here autonomously without me having to invite them or control them. So I guess we'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, again, I'll cut to myself from the future. It is me from the future, so you know what that means. It didn't fully work. I was already expecting some things not to work, so I'm not totally disappointed, but let's just go step by step. I'm gonna do a voiceover while you guys can see some of the gameplay that I did while I was playtesting. So the main thing that I wanted and did not work were the vendors. There's really no option to have Sims tend the stall in the custom venue menu, so yeah, I thought asking them to tend the bars and things may direct them there, but it doesn't. The supposed vendors were just standing at the front most of the time, chatting with other Sims. Because of that, the Sims that were supposed to be the foodies did not have much to do, so they were also just standing chatting. But I have to say that later I did try hiring some vendors, and those Sims that I said to eat still did not eat. I think I only saw one Sim ordering food, and I don't know if he did that because he was a foodie or because the Sim was hungry and he had no other option. So yeah, I'm not sure now if I'm gonna keep this space like this or if I should change it to something else. But I'm definitely deleting the roles that were supposed to do that. And another thing that I'm actually not sure if it does work or not were the club gatherings. So I was able to have my Sim call up her club with no problem. But the only time that I saw a club outside of my household show up autonomously was when I visited kind of outside the schedule, so it was a bit earlier before all the Sims were supposed to show up. And only one out of the 3 clubs that I set up did show up autonomously, so I don't think we can really count on that working. Just for reference, I did set up other clubs in other lots like a park, and 3 of the clubs that I made showed up at the same time, so they do work like that. It just doesn't work like that in custom venues. But other than that, the DJ and the bartender did fulfill their roles. All of the other Sims, the party goers, were able to act accordingly to what I told them to do, so that part was fine. But the whole food area part was a flop. So I went ahead and made some changes. The first thing I did was, of course, to delete both the vendors and the foodies. I actually changed the foodies from foodies to the regulars, which were the Sims that were supposed to come in the club. They are kind of the Sims that I want to always just be hanging out in this lot whenever my Sims come. But I guess one good thing from the vendors not working is that I actually now have more Sims who just come to party, because now I have only 2 essential Sims. I have the DJ and the bartender. All of the other 18 Sims are just party goers. They're just there to dance and socialize and have fun. So it actually worked out a little bit in the end. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the second lot. So I originally had this set up as a bar because I only had this little area over here kind of done, and the bar works very well, kind of how it's supposed to work. But I've also added a little hair and nail salon over here, which I've been meaning to use as well. So I think I want to set up this area to be functional. I also have a little not fruit stand, but like a little neighborhood market over here. This is mostly for decoration, Even though I can actually click here and buy like produce and stuff, this is not like a functional market because you do need a mod to have that, and then you have to set this lot as a market. So yeah, this is mostly for decoration, and this is kind of the functional area. So I am gonna try to turn this into a custom venue so we can have kind of the multi-purpose lots working properly. So yeah, fingers crossed this one works too. Okay, I think I'm done with the roles and the schedule. It was actually pretty similar to what I did last time. So for this time, we're actually gonna open the lot at 8 a.m. This is when the nail salon opens. I think it's pretty early for a nail salon, but I would like to just have this open in case I want my sim to visit the nail salon early morning. And I feel like salons do tend to open pretty early, especially the more busier ones. So we only have the new tech and the new client, and then at 11 the bar actually opens, which may seem quite early, but the bars that I grew up seeing not going to but seeing, they did open quite early because it's more of a lunch bar. And I also have an area here for them to watch football games, so it should be open kind of the whole day. So basically from 11 to 5 I did free time, so both lots should be open and everyone should just do their respective activities. And then from 8 p.m. to I think 3 a.m. we only have the bar working. So we have the bartender, the clients, and then I actually added another client role, so as the new people leave, more people will come to the lot. But please let me know what kind of custom venues you guys use, or if you guys prefer to use businesses. I love running businesses in this game, but visiting them I kind of had a bad experience, so this is why I'm trying the custom venue now. But now let's get to the playtesting. Okay, this time I'm back with good news. So this lot actually worked pretty well. I wasn't sure if the nail salon part would work, but it actually worked fine. I was able to get my sims nails done. I saw other sims getting their stuff done as well. The first time that I playtested, the nail techs did not wear their uniforms, as you can see on the screen. But I then playtested again and I realized that they didn't wear the uniforms because we were having a heat wave, and the weather outfits, I guess, take precedence over the assigned outfits. So yeah, the next day they wore their uniforms normally. And of course, the one thing that didn't work again was that I tried having the vendor. This was before I, play tested the other lot. But other than the uniform, I think everything worked very well. The Sims did all the activities that I set up for them to do. And even though I had a limit of 20 Sims on this lot, because of the size, kind of the playable area that I have for the bar actually felt really full. So I'm definitely keeping this one as is, I think. So I am pleasantly surprised this time, but I think now we're gonna move on to the clubs. Okay, now that we've explored some custom venues, I went all the way back to the club system, and my goal was to have the lots feel not only more alive but more customized, filled with sims that I've created and that I know. I have been playing for a couple days now, and I have to say that it definitely works pretty well. I was able to see almost every club that I've created in action and autonomously, so without the sim that I was playing, but I did create a lot of clubs. So as you can see right now, I'm actually at the skate park, and I do have a teenage club that likes to hang out around here, and they just showed up autonomously. I am not playing with any of the teenagers. I do have another skating club for adults, but they're not showing up here, so they don't always show up every time you visit the lot, but sometimes they will. And of course this works better if you have multiple clubs in one lot. But yeah, let me show you guys the list of clubs that I made. If you're someone who's struggling to think of clubs to add into your save file, maybe you're not familiar with all of the families that you have yet, one thing that I would recommend is to actually look at the lots that you intend to play on, what activities there are in each of those lots, what kind of sims would you expect expect to see there. So that's basically what I did. At first, I went around and I made at least one club for every single lot that I know that I'm gonna be playing with. And then after that, I made some extra clubs for the households that I already know, that I'm already playing with. And let me know in the comments what kind of clubs you do that maybe I can implement on my save file. So these are some of the clubs that I made. As you can see, they don't have descriptions because I got lazy, but I'll just explain the purpose of each of them. I guess first I can show you guys the clubs that my sim has. So I think I showed you before the girls night out club. It had a different name, but it's basically for her group of friends that likes to go to, you know, nightclubs and stuff, as you guys saw earlier. And then she has also another friend group. She has the Praianas friend group. Praianas is basically beach girls in Portuguese. So this is her friend group that likes to go to the beach. I always like having clubs for my Sims friend groups because I feel like it's some Sims, they have different friend groups with different personalities. So she has one friend group that is more chill, and then she has a friend group that is more into partying and going out and drinking and dancing and stuff. So that's what I did here. But other than that, I have a bunch of clubs for kind of the NPCs in town. So the first one is the after work drinks. I actually have this club for a really long time now because I was playing with Natalia at one point, and she works as a doctor. I don't really have the doctor career as a requirement because she already knew her co-workers, but basically, yeah, it's an after work drinks club with a bunch of doctors and people that work at the hospital, and they usually will go to the bar and just have drinks and socialize. So I definitely enjoy making co-workers groups. It's a good way to kind of make sure that your sim, you know, knows the sims that they would know kind of in a realistic way. And then I actually have the best meetup. This is also for Natalia. So Natalia also has kind of a friend group that likes to hang out as well. So I already had this club for her, and the four of them like to hang out at a lounge. But yeah, kind of like Ina, these are more kind of social circle clubs, which is very good for when you already know the sims you're playing with and you kind of want to make sure that you're hanging out with your friends and stuff. The next three clubs that I have are actually more so of hobby clubs. So these are clubs where people get together to do stuff that are hobbies for them. So I have the book club, which obviously is for sims that like to read. I have this Cidade Namorada art group for sims that like to paint, and I think I did do pottery as well. Yeah, they can do pottery, paint, and view art. And then I also had the football buddies, which are for sims that like to play football, and by football I mean soccer. Not, you know, American football. And this is actually a teenage group, and I did see them a lot when my sim went to the beach, and it was pretty cute to go to the beach and just see them kind of playing soccer with each other. I don't know, it just made me it just made me happy. And besides the football buddies, I also have the football fans. So these are sims that go to watch football at the bar. I say football, but they basically just watch TV because we don't have a football channel. I feel like I would have to do an override for the sports channel. I was also planning on having another football related club for the football players because I do have a few sims in town that are supposed to be kind of players and stuff. And it's kind of funny because I don't actually like football or soccer that much. I don't really watch it outside the World Cup, but I feel like it's such a big, you know, cultural thing here that I kind of felt compelled to add in the save file. I have two kind of fitness clubs. So I have the gym rats and I have the joggers. And the reason why I have two different clubs instead of just one big fitness club is because I feel like the people who are gym rats and the people who like to go jogging have two different profiles. I don't know. So I do have two separate clubs, and the gym rats, you know, they go to the actual gym that I have here in Cidade Namorada. They're like super fit and active and athletic. And then the joggers, they're a little bit more chill. I actually have a few kind of older sims or sims with families and stuff, and they meet up at the park. So that big park area in Cidade Namorada, they go jogging over there, and it is so nice to see them just jogging there because that area would definitely be a jogging area in real life. And I actually had no idea before the save file that jogging was a club activity. So it is just a really nice sort of club to have. It's very realistic. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so we have the karaoke night, which is very self-explanatory. It's basically a club of Sims that like to go to karaoke. I actually have yet to see them in action, and I did make it a requirement that you have to have some singing skill just for my own sake and not having to hear Sims that can't actually sing every time. So yeah, at this point my own sim can't even join this club. She can't sing at all, so yeah. And then I have the loungers. This is actually a group of sims that I kind of felt like they would like to enjoy nightlife but not go to a nightclub. So these are basically older sims. As you can see, I have elders and adults mostly, and they're a bit classier as well. All of these sims are kind of, you know, well off. So yeah, I kind of wanted to make that separation. And in contrast to the loungers who are, you know, a bit older, a bit classier, I actually have a club called the Young Hoes, which are basically just the young adults that like to go to the nightclubs and, you know, drink and go wild. So yeah, I like to have kind of opposing clubs in a way. I also have a playground club. So this is basically just a kid club. So I have all of the kids that live in Cidade Namorada and Tartosa in one single club, and they go to the park and play on the playground. And it is pretty cute as well to see them all. I always see them whenever I go to the park, so I love this club. So the next club I already showed earlier in this video. This is the Ready to Mingle club, and these are sims that not only like to go party, but they're also, you know, looking for romance. So they are set to kind of flirt with other sims, and it is a pretty funny club. I also have the Skate and Drink club. So this is the club that's supposed to come to this lot, and they haven't really shown up, but they're supposed to skate and drink some coffee and just kind of hang out at this park area. And the main difference between this club and the club that is actually skating right now is that this is a teenage club and this is an adult club. I do like to have kind of that separation with most of my clubs, and it's the same thing with the sport buddies. So the difference from the sport buddies and the football buddies is that the football buddies are all teenagers and the sport buddies are actually adults. And I actually gave them other activities instead of just, you know, soccer. They can do basketball and they can actually do the American football thingy as well. But I just wanted to have a bunch of different clubs for my active sims that weren't just, you know, going to the gym. So I have the gym, I have the jogging club, I have the skating club, and then I have, you know, the soccer club and the sport club. And I also really want to do a diving club now that we have the diving board. I don't have that club yet because I don't actually have a lot set up for that, but I do plan on doing that maybe for Ina because she does like swimming a lot, and yeah, I might do that. So other than social groups and hobbies, I also really like to do family clubs. So these two clubs are for two families that I have been playing with. They're kind of the biggest families in the save file. They actually meet up at the same lounge, but one interesting thing about them is that they actually hate each other. So one of their club activities, other than, you know, enjoying the lounge, is to actually be mean and to fight each other. So yeah, they do like to hang out in the same lounge, but if they see each other there at the same time, they are going to fight. And I just really wanted to see that happen. I really wanted to have an excuse to have them fighting. So I did make them as kind of, you know, rivaling clubs. And the last club that I have right now is the Yoga in the Park club. So also very self-explanatory. These are sims that like to meet up in the park and do yoga. I basically just had the idea for this club because I always like to bring my sims to do yoga in the park. I think this park is one of the biggest examples to me of how well clubs actually work, because every time my sim goes there are so many clubs just hanging out there and doing activities. So if you're not someone who is, you know, overwhelmed by a bunch of sims in one lot, I would definitely recommend having 2 to 3 clubs in one single lot because it makes it feel so much more alive and interesting. I do want to make some more, but these were kind of the clubs that I could make with the lots that I have. I'm still planning on making, you know, more lots and kind of adding more stuff into the save file. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful to you in some way. Hot daydreaming. Okay, my sims just being freaky over there. Let me close that. But as I was saying, I hope this video was helpful to you in some way. Maybe you wanted to see how custom venues can work and how they can't work. We definitely learned that today. I definitely want to try making more businesses next. So, small businesses, restaurants, vet clinics, add that to the save file and maybe have, actual families that I know owning them instead of random generated sims. So I think that's the next step on this save file. And if you want to see me just play with the save file kind of more casually as well, leave a comment and let me know, and I'll definitely film this a little bit because I have been playing with it already and it is a lot of fun. But I think for now I'm gonna leave this part right here, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.